Real Estate Rewired.
All right, welcome to Real Estate Rewired, AI with a Heart. I'm Gus Waite, and today we are talking with JT. JT is on the front lines of, he's a heavyweight in real estate operations, former CRO at OJO, say that a couple of times, led teams with the franchise Keller Williams in Southern California, one of the largest in the world. He co-founded BrokerKit, and JT is at that intersection of tech, real estate, and mortgage. And I really want to talk to you today about BrokerBot and what it does, why you started it. But before we do that, JT, how the hell did you get into this crazy business? Why?
So thanks for having me, Gus, by the way. And you know, it's funny, as you were doing that, you have like the perfect Michael Buffer voice that I just needed somebody to like ding, 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 and play the walkout song at the end. That's an amazing intro. Anyways, I didn't have a choice, man. I identify as a car guy, but I've been in this industry for 25 years. And so 25 years ago, I was working on, high-end cars, doing performance stuff. And my mom says, son, if you ever want to own those cars, you need to get into real estate. But if you just like working on them, that's okay too. And I was like, you got me. She was in mortgage. Her mom was in real estate. And so third generation, been doing it ever since. And, unfortunately now it's the only viable skill I have in the world is understanding U.S. real estate.
Well, let me ask you this, because there's always that buzz moment, the first deal where you got a big check. So do you sort of remember that like dopamine hit, and tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'll even go one step out of that. So I started by being my mom's loan processor, which back then that meant stapling things and ACO hole punching and dropping them in trans boxes. And we had a good customer. We did a lot of mobile home stuff. And we had a good customer. He said, hey, do you guys know a real estate agent that can help us? We have a 300 unit subdivision that we're replatting and we need help selling it. And I was like, well, when are you going to get your public report and do this? He's like, oh, we're probably like 3 or 4 months away. I was like, oh, great. I'll just go get my license. And for whatever crazy reason, he's like, oh, that's great. You can do that. So my first transaction and the entire reason I got a real estate license was to sell a subdivision. So short story, I was rookie of the year accidentally, like luck matters. And that was cool, right? Like I had a lot of fun doing that. It was really hard. I was 24, by the way, and I had to go into this subdivision. And there was like 25 people. It had previously been a mobile home park, and they rented their space. And so I had to go in and tell these people that had been living in this mobile home park for like forever that like, hey, they had 3 months to figure out if they were going to buy their lot or they had to move their house. And so, 25-year-old me was like, yeah, whatever, easy day. Like, I'll get them pizza. So I ordered a bunch of pizzas and like rented a clubhouse and I brought them all in and I was like, hey guys, enjoy the pizza. By the way, you have 3 months to move your house or get the hell out. It didn't go as well as I thought that it would go. Yeah. And in hindsight, I had such a massive lack of empathy. It's embarrassing. Yeah. But I will say over the next 6 months, we navigated it and we made friends with these people. We had the right intentions and it all like worked out. But that's how I started.
Well, it's funny. There's a book. I recently read a book called Fluke, Fluke. And it's just, and I mean, you can see this, JT, going back in your own life. The fact that that particular guy on that particular day was selling that particular property and for whatever reason the vibe he had with you worked. I mean, and so you had this immense opportunity right off the bat. Yep. So one of the quotes I love, and then we'll get into it, is there's a Carl Jung quote that says, if we don't make the unconscious conscious, it will dictate our actions and we'll call it fate. The reason I love that quote is I believe all businesses are really a reflection of the belief system of the person who creates the business. And the reason I'm going down this road is AI identifies patterns, and we all have patterns. So the question I have for you is what patterns existed in you at that point that were either positive or negative? And then moving forward, like this whole idea of perfecting the process, like where did that come from?
And so you're saying at that point when I started in real estate, or
when you started, like company? Looking back on it, you said, "Wow, I didn't have much empathy," right?
Oh yeah. So I grew up with my dad taking me to Jim Rohn stuff, And my dad has quipped at me, and he's still around. I'm real lucky for that. For like 40 years now of, you're not a tree, son, so just move. And, all these Jim Rohnisms. And so I think kind of my natural bias has always been, and when I was at 18, like teenager and 20s, I was like,
Right.
why are you Yoda? Like, why are you Riddlering me? But then, subconsciously it sticks. So parents, like, just keep layering it on there, and hopefully the kid will listen at some point. At 44 years old now, I understand what he was doing, and I'm so appreciative because it really helps. And I think it helps shape who I am and everything else. But, I joined Keller Williams in 2010. Keller Williams Realty is, the largest real estate franchisor in the world. And I think I owe a lot of my career to them because they created like a training-based and motivational environment, which, by the way, I'm not part of Keller Williams today. So this isn't like me ringing their bell.
Right. Sure.
They had such a good, like, learning-based, growth-based culture. And I think it was just the right time in my life when I plugged into that it, it put some water on this seed of a kid that wanted to do something a little bit better. And, then it's just been like a 25-year pursuit of that ever since. And so I still read a lot, listen to podcasts. I like to talk to people like you that have their head in these things. And I think there's something to learn every single day. And I'm always looking for, who can I learn from or what can I do to grow? And, now, so much longer, like, it's strange to me, I think, mid-career to like fully reset from being an executive at public companies to now being a startup founder on a very small team and raising capital and doing all those things that I really don't know if I would have been this prepared to do this without that like growth journey. And I think the most fun part of this is just that reset of like being a beginner again and having to figure it all out.
So what led you then? So you go to Keller Williams. Obviously, you got successful because you're leading franchises. You're doing well, right? You're sort of rising up the ranks. And so at what point and what was the impetus to kind of, so from there, where did you transition? How long were you at Keller Williams? What was the discontent or what were you going for?
Yeah, so there's this pattern in my life, and I love that you talked about patterns, where I've had to reset a bunch of times. And I think people are really scared of that. And I think once you do it not on your terms, you realize that it's a lot easier to do it on your terms than not on your terms. So here's what I mean by that. And I'm one of those people, I just tell people stuff, and I'm not ashamed of anything. When in 2008, my life was really hard. I was in this industry, and it was a really hard time. I made $16,000, and my now wife was pregnant with my first child, and I had just inherited 2 bonus kids from this relationship, and I was like 27. I had no flipping idea what the world was. I was scared to death. We were on food stamps to help pay for baby food. I didn't know what the heck was going on, and shortly after that, somebody gave me a book called Shift, and that Shift it's a Gary Keller book, and it's called How Top Agents Tackle Tough Times. Now, what's funny is it was all about short sales and marketing and getting your expenses in check, but it's still relevant 20 years later. And that book and the simple concept in that book of like call your database changed everything for me. And so I started at Keller Williams. The second year I was there, we sold 117 houses, $545,061 in gross commission income. I'll never forget that year. That was like the biggest year for me. And then I had this epiphany of like, well, if I can sell 100 houses in Tucson, I should move to Southern California where the houses have an extra 0 and I'll make more money. And then I can raise my kids in a place that like will give them more opportunity. So we just got up and moved, and it was scary as heck, man. Ultimately, that's where I met another person that had a big impact on my life. His name's Chris Heller. Chris, at the time, owned some franchises in Southern California. He went on to be the president of Keller Williams Worldwide and ultimately the CEO of Keller Williams Realty International. And so I ran his franchises in SoCal, and we grew like crazy. We went from like 150 agents to almost 600 in one office, and we went from 300 million in sales to $1.5 billion. won all sorts of awards. Like somehow I got named as one of the 500 most influential people in San Diego by the San Diego Business Journal, and I'm like 30. And I was making a ton of money, and it was great. And then I, had this need to build this piece of software, and that's where we built BrokerKit. And I met some guys at this San Diego startup thing, and they built it for our office, and worked real well. And we sold it to some other people, and before we knew it, we were making like $1 million a year in software sales, and it was a cool thing. And then Chris left as the CEO of Keller Williams, and he went and he joined a company called Loan Depot. And he went to Loan Depot to build a product called Mellow Home, which the idea was like, we'll buy leads from this company, process them, get them pre-qualified, refer them to agents, and make a business out of this. And mind you, I was making a ton of money, but I knew that like if I was going to grow, I was going to have to give something up. And so we sold BrokerKit, we sold the property management company, sold the brokerages, and I quit and like fully reset. And went to Loan Depot as a vice president and did it again. And I think that opportunity to learn from different people. I mean, I got to work side by side with Anthony Shea. Anthony is one of the savviest business people. He's a first generation U.S. immigrant, another person that I just owe a ton to. And I think for me, like if you look at my career, somehow I just magically end up being side by side and working for and with these really, really talented, top of the industry people. And it's given me an opportunity to learn from each of them along the way.
So it's interesting. Two things come up for me. One is the courage to be nothing. And what I mean by that is that fear. I mean, 2008, I was in New York at that time. I'd been in probably 5 years and was just, it takes about 5 years to really kind of get yourself going in real estate. Yeah. And man, when it hit hard and fast and bad. And it was, we were at the epicenter of that financial crisis in New York. And I remember that. And so, kudos to you, because to kind of like let go of that previous identity and say, okay, I don't know what's going to get created out of this, but this ain't working. That takes something. And then the question I have for you, the first product that you built, which was, what was it, the previous one that you sold?
Well, do you want to hear about the first one we built that failed miserably, or do you want to hear about the first one we built? I love misery.
Let's hear about it. Come on.
So, look, I sat in a training class, and you're just going to see this theme. I hear things from smart people, and I take action on them. So I was in this training class, and this other smart guy, Ben Kinney, says, if you have to do something more than once on a computer, that's your own fault. Like, automation exists for a reason, use it. And for whatever reason, I took that really seriously. And at the time, I had figured out that if I took the listings on my website and I posted them on Craigslist with a link, that people would go from Craigslist to my website, and I could generate a large number of free leads. So I went on the internet and Googled, or I don't know, maybe it Binged it or Yahoo'd at the time. I don't remember. This was like 2010. And I found this dude in Russia that had this product that would auto post to Craigslist. And I was like, sweet, dude. So I worked with him and we had him customize it. Then I found this other dude in India and he wrote this product that scraped all the listings off my website. And I had this little app on my desktop, and every morning I would sit down with my coffee, click scrape, load them into Craigslist and hit go. And then throughout the day, I would do the little verification thing for Craigslist. I was generating 1,000 leads a month. It was crazy. I built a sales team around it. That's how I sold a bunch of houses. Then I had this genius idea of if I could do this for myself, why can't I do this for other people? Short version, went from 0 to 300,000 a month in revenue to 0 in 7 months.
Oh, nice. Riding that wave.
Because
I'm sure the conversations with the wife were interesting at that point.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It was the funny thing about it was, the Russian guy only would take payment in Bitcoin. And so my solution was because to beat Craigslist, I would mail the customer a computer and be like, just plug this in your office and let me know when you got it up and running. Then I would remote in and install my stuff in their office. And then I had this massive bag of burner phones that I would use to get around the Craigslist thing. And so then I had this idea. I'm like, well, I got to pay this freaking guy in Bitcoin. So let me just install a Bitcoin miner on all these machines that I sent to these people. So they were paying with their electricity for me to mine Bitcoin.
Oh,
Dude,
God.
I got stories about Bitcoin. So I had like 7 or 8 Bitcoin back in the day. And when I got to $300, I was like, baby, I'm rich. And I sold it all. It was great.
Oh, yeah. Along with
So
your
that was
NVIDIA
like-
stock? Was that the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the funny thing was, we made enough noise that somehow I got on Craigslist radar, and we got a cease and desist from Craigslist, and that was the end of the business. So then I got to have my first like real epic failure, and I called every one of our customers, and I explained to them what happened, and I said, I'm going to give you your money back. It may take me a few months, but I will get it all back to you. And I paid every single customer back for what they paid, if they'd prepaid or whatever. And what's funny is now, like 4 tech startups later, I can call all those same customers, be like, hey, I'm working on a new thing. Do you want it? And they're like, I don't care what it is. If you're working on it, I want it. And I learned a really valuable lesson that, like, when you get a shit sandwich, just eat it and make it right. Mm-hmm. And if you do the right thing for people, it goes a really long way. And I've done quite a bit of angel investing, and there's a number of founders that, you know, they take your $25,000 check. You never hear from them. They don't give you business updates. And then one day you just get a letter that says, sorry, we failed. You don't get a phone call. You don't get a, here's how I'm going to make it right. Here's what I'm working on next. Let's get some money in the new deal. And that's the biggest mistake that these people make is like, if somebody like me is investing, like we know not every deal is a winner, but like that doesn't need to mean that the founder's a loser. That just means that idea was not a winner. Right. And if the founder's a winner, they step up and they do the right thing and they try again. And
you know, I use a restaurant analogy. My family had restaurants in the city when I was an actor. And you know, someone gets a lousy meal. Sometimes you can make more of a fan out of that person in the way that you dealt with their disappointment than if they had just had a good hamburger and walked out and it wasn't that memorable. And so when you go above and beyond to rectify it, and because I think most people are actually very forgiving. If they see that you're trying to do the right thing and your strategy was off or the economy or something weird happened. So, yeah, the Craigslist days back in New York real estate, it was crazy. I mean, and anyway, so we could go on and on about those days. But now, so that's the first big failure. I love that. And then what came out of that?
Well, so that one just went away. By the way, I called that my lead gen team, and I still own that domain, and one day I'll do something cool with it. The next thing that I found was I was running this brokerage, and it was really just me, and I was doing all the recruiting, but I had hit a ceiling that I couldn't hire more than like 8 to 10 agents a month, and there was 40,000 in San Diego, and obviously I wanted to hire them all. So I needed to like scale myself, and we were using a piece of software at the time that like it was just really clunky and it didn't work well. Like it was the right core idea of you should have a CRM for recruiting, but they just did a terrible job implementing it, and it didn't work. And so it worked, it didn't work for us. Let me be fair about that. So I go to this local startup meetup, and I meet some guys, and they're like, well, hey, we're software guys. We're from Silicon Valley. We're looking for a project. I showed them my problem, and they're like, yeah, that's real bad. We think we can solve that better. So they wrote a significantly better piece of software that solved the same problem, and it worked great. And now at the time, I was like top 10 in the country for Keller Williams for growth and profitability. And so naturally, everybody says like, well, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, well, here's what I'm doing. And by the way, like we built this product. Before we knew it, we had like 600 offices using the product, and we're making money. And that it was
now, let me ask you this, because let me back up. So the core problem was disorganization with recruitment. Was it with onboarding? Was it with consistent communication? Like, what was the problem that you solved?
It was all of the above, right? So like if there's 3 of us that are working on a recruit together, how do we collaborate on that person? And then how can we like build campaigns and automate and text and email and do it in a way where the entire team has visibility? And then as that person onboards, how do we transition them into an onboarding suite where the now team doing the onboarding has the benefit of all the visibility of that recruiting time, and then we can create tasks and work through things. And so that's really what we built, was the thing that just helped us run the business. And when you do that with really good technology partners, you end up with a piece of software like when most salespeople especially think about using a CRM, they think of it as accretive, meaning like it takes them time to use the CRM. It doesn't help them. Well, when you build really good software, the software actually makes you go faster, not slower. And that was kind of our secret sauce, is that when we implemented the software and a team around it, our recruiting numbers went up with the same team because we were able to collaborate better, and it was a seamless handoff between recruiting and onboarding. And by the way, that company's still around. There's thousands of brokerages that use that company. It's still.
And what's it called again? I'm sorry.
BrokerKit. And I still think that's the best piece of software in the recruiting CRM space specifically that exists.
So let me back another question on that. So there's great software, AI has great systems, and then there's human beings.
Yeah.
That who moved my cheese, right? Like, what has been your strategy to get buy-in from human beings to change the systems that they're using?
Yeah. So I have this fundamental belief in life that human ambition is not stagnant, meaning like if I show you how to do something better, you're going to want it to be better. I think the mistake that most people that build software make is they take an offline process and they make it an online process and they call it mission accomplished. And what really good product people do is they look at what's the actual thing we're trying to do here? And how can we actually fix the problem, not just move the process to a different place?
Right.
And I'll give you a really concrete example. Right now, I'm getting pitched 3 times a week on, hey, you guys have 25,000 agents on your platform. I built a tool that will write a contract via voice. Can we integrate and you help resell my tool to these agents? I get asked every day by agents, hey, can you have AI write my contracts? There's a bunch of legal and licensing issues around doing this, both in the state licensing, but then also the form licensing with the associations. It's not an easy problem to solve. Here's what's interesting. Every single company that has pitched me this has built the same piece of technology, and it's terrible. And what that piece of technology does is it's I take my phone and I call and I go, hey, I want to write a contract for the house at 123 Main Street. And he goes, great, I'll walk you step by step through it. And then it reads me the flippin' fields in the contract and has me say back to it what to do. And as a technologist and a realtor, I can go in SkySlope Forms and I can write that contract in 6 minutes. Or I can spend 30 minutes on the phone talking to this AI thing that every third text field, it says, sorry, I didn't get that. Can you repeat that? And I know all my tech friends are going to say well, you need better models and the thing's going to improve. Sure, but the approach is wrong. And I think that's the thing that people have to think about. And so to go all the way back to your question of how do you get people to change behavior, you have to show them a better way. And if you just show them how to do the same thing they've been doing in a new system, they don't care.
Well, also, don't you find what's the result? I mean, at the end of the day, and it's interesting because we can talk more about what I do, but I mean, part of what I'm seeing is nobody wants to change their behavior. And really all they want is, hey, I want a phone call from someone who's interested in selling their house. And I want some context into that conversation, and I want more people on my calendar. I don't care what CRM you use, what this, what that. And so it's always interesting to me, and I like that you're talking about this, but don't you also think it's because you were a broker? I mean, I did it for 20 years. So I understand the mentality of the agent, the broker, the owner, fair housing, disclosure forms. I get how much trouble you can get in if you don't really pay attention to the small pieces of it.
Yeah, and I wasn't just a broker then. I'm a broker now. My wife and I co-own a brokerage. We have 40 agents, 3 loan officers. We sell probably $100 million a year worth of real estate through that brokerage. Now, I spend an hour a week or less on it, but I'm the broker and I got to, my license is on the line. So you better believe that I'm very well aware of like what's required and compliance and everything else.
Got it. So let me just rephrase it. So what I heard you say is the problem is when you're not a broker, when you don't understand the process, when you don't understand the emotional unconscious patterns of the people that you're working with, and you just say, hey, do this, and you realize, well, wait a minute, this is more of a pain in the ass than what I'm already doing. Why would I do this? Got it. Okay, cool. So then you sell that, and now BrokerBot. Tell me about that. Like, what problem did that solve? Like, and where did the germ come from? You laying in bed at night going, all right, this is a pain in the ass. How do I fix this?
This is different. This is probably a bit more calculated. And it's like the opposite of what happened with BrokerKit. So this is, by the way, same co-founder from BrokerKit, because Ian is my partner. He's the best computer scientist I've ever worked with. He does a nice job pulling things out of my brain and building them. And you look, in the last 3 years, we've had commission lawsuits, we've had the DMLSing of the world, and we've had artificial intelligence technology accelerate faster than ever before. Somebody is going to go become a billionaire at the nexus of those three things. Why not me? That's what got me to quit my job and like go all in and try to figure this out. I will say, when we started, no idea what we were building. We knew we were building an AI platform for the real estate industry. Beyond that, I don't know. So where we started is I called my friend, Kristen Cole. Kristen owns some big Keller Williams franchises in Arizona. And I said, hey, I have this idea. I think I can train an AI assistant on all your brokerages stuff so that it can like support your agents, right? Because I knew when I had 500 agents, my phone rang 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I heard this call and I went, hey Gus, it's Jeremiah. Sorry to bother you. I know how busy you are, but I got a question. You got a minute? And that is like the silent killer of big brokerages, is that you have to scale headcount with your agent headcount to be able to support them. And so Kristen was brave enough to say like, sure, let's try it. The first version of the product was horrible. But what we found is 3 months after we launched it, I got a phone call and she goes, hey, I just have a question. Are agents using this thing? And I was like, I mean, I can look. Why do you ask? She goes, well, we just pulled our broker hotline call logs. And in the last week, since you launched the BrokerBot phone number, our call volume for broker hotline went down by 83%. And I'm trying to figure out what happened. Did they go away or are they calling your thing? And I looked, I was like, holy cow, agents are using this thing. And then she started going through it and she found an instance where our technology gave the agent the right answer per the contract and the Arizona rules. And then her human broker like added their own creativity with it and actually gave the agent the wrong answer that got them in some legal issues. And it was like, game over, this is what we need to do. And that was our like signal that there's something here. Fast forward today.
How long ago was that?
That was
how long ago?
We built the first version of the product in February of 2025. It was 13 months ago.
So here's what just pops into my mind: the Notebook LM on Google, right?
Yeah.
And then so basically putting all of that into one space, so that you're just pulling from the company's information. Basically, you're only pulling out what that broker said, their vibe, their advice. Yeah. Is it in that realm? Is that kind of what we're talking about? Is a centralized database of the institutional knowledge of that particular brokerage?
Yeah, for sure. So think about it like this. As a broker, you have information primarily in three places. One of them is a semi-easy problem to solve. One of them is a little bit harder problem to solve. One of them is the hardest problem to solve. Number one, the easiest one, is you have stuff that's on the internet. And you have training things and things that you've created, and you can pretty reliably point an AI agent at your stuff that's on the internet, and it can read it and come up with the right stuff because we're just there as tech.
Right.
The second is that you have a bunch of stuff that is in folders and documents and places that, you is your reference material, your broker policy manual, all those things. That's more complex to deal with than the internet stuff because it's poorly indexed and it's unstructured. Right. Now, if you're a small brokerage, you can dump it all into ChatGPT or Notebook LLM, and it'll 80% of the time just kind of figure it out, okay? Our customers generally are A, either not sophisticated enough and small, or B, they're big. So that means they're, we have a customer right now, 17 states, 5,000 agents, 50 offices, 115 MLSs. What we had to build was a knowledge graph that sits on top of every user so that when an agent says, what's the rule for X, we deliver that rule for their MLS, their office, their brokerage, their license, without requiring them to answer the right thing. You will not figure that out in Notebook LLM. You will need, the $500,000 a year data scientist people to figure that out, which is how I solved it. But the third thing is the most complex thing, and I think this is the thing that people underestimate, is that a third or more of the knowledge in your brokerage lives in somebody's head. Yeah. And so that's why that person never gets any relief, is because they're the go-to person. They're the got-a-minute person. And so what we did is we built technology where we can be the liaison between the agent that needs an answer and the person who's answering it, and we can listen and learn, where we actually teach the machine based on the conversations that are happening. So the longer a brokerage is on our technology, the smarter it gets and the more it learns about what they do. And we use a human-in-the-loop approval process. So for us, for a big brokerage that has 2,000 agents, after 90 days, on average, we will have absorbed between 12 and 1,500 unique natural language rules and training moments by listening to their conversations. And so what happens is after 3 or 4 months, we actually have a full corpus on how the brokerage operates, what's online, what's in their documents, and what's in people's heads, to where we can truly propagate and share knowledge across the organization in this really intelligent way.
Now, this is fascinating to me. So, obviously capturing an email and texts, relatively simple. Yep. How do you capture the conversations that they're having on the phone? Because a lot of, as you know, agents, those conversations happen either via text or via phone conversations. Yeah. So how do you capture that information?
We literally give them a phone number that when they have a broker question, they call it and they talk to voice AI. And if our thing cannot solve their problem, we escalate it to the broker and the broker answers and tells them and we listen.
Got it. So I guess my question is, I'm the broker, or JT, you call me, I'm your broker. You're saying, hey, this person doesn't want to sign the disclosure form, or they used racist language. I don't know how to deal with it. What should I do?
Yeah.
Are you able to capture those conversations?
Yeah, because they don't call the broker. They call our broker hotline, and they start with us, and then we route to the broker.
Got it. I guess what I'm trying, so this is where I'm going with this, right? Gemini now personally is figuring out a way to say, hey, listen, Gus, we've got everything you've ever done in Google. Every website every restaurant you ever went to, every email, we now kind of know who you are. So now when you travel to California, we're going to be able to tell you where to go. Yeah. So I guess what I'm wondering is, in your system, in terms of the conversations that happen from the broker's head to the agent's head outside of it, is there any way to capture that, or not yet?
Do I have a listening device that we implant in the broker's brain?
Yeah,
where are you going with this?
Okay, so if I hit record, if I say to my agents, listen, I'm going to record every conversation I have with you because this is intelligence that I want to give to BrokerBot so that it can have more context of how I would answer this. I guess that's where I'm going with it.
Yeah, so we have some that do that. I think the thing that most people overestimate is the nuance of the agent's questions. The majority of their questions, I would say high 80th percentile, can be answered by simply reading something. And more often than not, it's reading the contract. So the number of things that actually require the broker to like use critical thinking and share things that are in their head are large in part limited. In the reality is, if I call you and I say, hey, Mr. like my broker, I have this problem, this agent's pissed, and I think there's a fair housing violation, and da 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 da. The dead last thing you want to have happen is have that question being answered by AI.
Right.
You actually, as the broker, you want to get in the middle of that, and you want to do your risk management, right? And that's our secret sauce, is that we work with the broker to understand when should we off-ramp out of the system, and where do they want BrokerBot to stop, and where do they want the human to start. And so we call those intelligent escalations, and we support the gamut. So we have some brokers that they say like, hey, and I wouldn't do this, but they're like, dude, I never have to answer the phone again. Tell BrokerBot to do everything. Like, no matter what the agent asks, just answer it and do your best. And if you don't know the answer, send me an email. I'll answer an email and add it to the training set. We can do that. We have other brokers that go, hey, I love that my agents can use their CRM from inside BrokerBot, that they can virtually stage houses, that it gives them a safe environment instead of going to ChatGPT. But I really don't want you doing any broker work because that's my job. So like, you just be their helpful assistant and help them like add people to their contacts and create campaigns and virtual stage and market, and like, let me be the broker, and we support that too.
So it's interesting to me that you should say that. So one of the things that comes up for me is voice agents, right? Which is the big brouhaha right now. And I had an experience probably about a month ago. Initially, I hated having to go on the bot, on the website, because now it sends you to an FAQ, and it's a big pain in the ass, and it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
But I think I was on Stripe.
Yeah.
And I called their service number. I was trying to figure out how to take a payment. And it said it was an AI bot, but it answered my questions. Like like it actually solved my problem. Yep. And like, it occurred to me that the reality is I just want my problem solved. And if the AI agent can actually do it, I don't give a shit that it's a robot, because it solved my problem and I didn't have to wait and explain it to somebody else. So what I hear you saying is there's that gap, though, between some brokers are going to be like, hey, listen, anytime fair housing is mentioned, I want it elevated to my cell phone immediately. Yep. And other ones that say, hey, listen, this is a deal on fair housing. Here's the standard operating procedure. They don't care. Yep. But the human loop, and this is where it gets really interesting to me, is really where the sweet spot is. And let me ask you this. It changes every month. It changes every day. A new model gets released. And all of a sudden you realize, holy shit, the planning that, like, so how do you individually stay on top of what feels like, to me, oftentimes drinking out of a fire hose?
Yeah. Well, individually, I don't do any of that. We have a team of machine learning guys that do this. So the way that we built this, and none of this is like super proprietary. Right. And moreover, like, if you want to try and build it, Godspeed, because it's hard.
Yeah, right, exactly.
What we have done is we've built a testing suite. And that testing suite has thousands of residential real estate specific tests in it. So I'll give you a concrete example. A few weeks ago, Claude Sonnet 4.6 came out. Yeah. We jam it into our testing suite, and what we learn immediately is like, it's really good at PDF extraction, but it's actually not as good as Claude Sonnet 4.5 or Mistral 2. But then its ability to like call tools and use them is 15% better than this thing. And so we take all the outputs of that testing suite and then we inject that into the back end of our model router. And so the way our technology works is, you're a realtor, you come in, you say, hey, I need you to do this thing for me. We dynamically pick the right tool for the job. So within 7 hours of Sonnet 4.6 being released, we'd run something like 8,000 tests against it. We knew exactly what it was good at and what it wasn't. We had it live in production working for agents. So the way that we built our architecture is that every time there's a new model, we just bolt it in, and then we're moving and deprecating. So like day by day, our tool just gets better. Like I will tell you, when Gemini Pro 3.0 came out and replaced Nano Banana 2, it was like somebody turned the lights on for our ability to create a flyer.
It's unbelievable. I mean, It really is. So I'm just thinking this through. Let's take it to the next level. Agentic AI, right? So one of the things that I do, the brokers that I work with, I generally have them use Go High Level just because it's agnostic in what you can plug in and plug out. But even like plugging in a tool like Fellow, that does the predictive analytics and all of that, within a year, 18 months, 24 months, there's going to be an AI agent that performs the task that a lot of these third-party providers are doing. So where do you see that going for your company in the future? Like as these agents get better at this stuff, how are you incorporating that?
I don't think that's the future. I think we already do that today. Like I can literally call BrokerBot on the phone and say, I want you to go to Corded.io, run a recruiting dossier on this agent, go research their profile online, add them to my CRM, write a customized drip campaign, and then give it all to me to review. Like that is not I can do that in the next 6 months. That is like, if you want, I can screen share and do it right now.
Right. Got it.
And I think we just signed a contract with Skyslope, Commissions Inc., Follow Up Boss, Canva. I'm working hard on Bold Trail. We're real close with Lone Wolf. We're live with Keller Williams Realty International. We're the only AI integration partner with Command. We're live with Google. We're live with Outlook. We're live with Corded. And we're working on a bunch more. And the idea behind this is that you should just be able to call BrokerBot or text it or get on the web and tell it what you want done. And you will not have to touch any of these tools. It will just go operate all of them for you. And what I know is that the switching cost is the hardest thing to deal with. Like if I built a CRM first, there's no way that I would be able to, I could show people all this stuff and they'd be like, this is really cool. But if I have to switch to your CRM to use that, I'm not going to do it. So I'm not going to ask you to switch. I'm going to bolt together all your shit that you have that doesn't talk. And I'm going to give you one AI agent that runs them all. And I'm going to be the only one that does it specifically for prop tech and like gives you an actual insurance policy, which we have today, that says I have errors and omissions insurance that if my AI assistant screws up and violates fair housing, discriminates, etc., that you can sue me and I've got insurance that says it won't.
Got it.
So we're going all in on this agentic thing. Have you played with any of the new CLI agents like Perplexity Computer or OpenClaw, any of those?
No, I didn't go into OpenClaw because I heard a couple of nightmares about, I don't know, went in and deleted all her Gmails or something. So I have not. I mean, I know of them, but I haven't played around with them yet.
So for people that are listening that have no idea what I just said with a CLI agent, back in the day, you probably had somebody remote desktop into your computer and like drive, right? And fix something for you. That is, they're using a command line interface effectively to operate your computer using technology. Somebody figured out that you can give Claude or these different models command line interface control of the computer and they can run it mostly like a human. The problem is with great power comes great responsibility, and they can we've heard multiple stories now where it's like, well, it's like, wait, what happened to my bank account? And the machine is like, well, I needed more tokens to finish my job, so I wired money from your bank account to myself. I'm not making this up. This actually has happened. Yeah. And so you have to put guardrails on top of these things because they're tremendously powerful. So in the new architecture that people are building on, what you're going to see in the back half of 2026 is the capability of these models is just going to go absolutely parabolic to, like, I'll give you an example. 3 months ago, my dog groomer, for whatever reason, only takes appointments by either calling or going on their website and being logged in. 3 months ago, I could not get ChatGPT's $200 a month operator thing to book a dog grooming appointment. Earlier this week, Perplexity Computer came out, and I was like, "Oh, this is my test. It's like book dog grooming," and it's like, "Well, I need to log in. What's your password?" And I'm like, "It's in my saved passwords." It's like, "Oh, got it. Okay, I'm logged in. When do you want it? Do you want a full groomer or this or that?" And I'm like, "This one, try to get it tomorrow, but make sure they're together." And it's like, "Cool, I booked it. The thing's in your email." And I'm like, "Oh, send that to my wife." And it's like, "Great." The capability is going to just go parabolic on this stuff. And the people that aren't like eyeballs deep in it are going to be shocked in 6 months about what's possible.
Well, and this is the thing, and I'm sure you listen. I did a little research on it. There's 109,000 independent real estate brokers in the United States who are not a part of a big whatever. Some guy in Cleveland's got 30 agents and whatever. Are you shocked at how many people are still sort of seeing AI as like, I don't want to deal with this shit. It's like too much for me.
Yeah.
Are you finding that or no?
Yeah, no, I'm not. So am I finding it? Yes. Am I shocked by it? No. In 2009, I went into my broker and I was like, hey man, there's this really cool new company called DocuSign. I no longer have to fax my contract to a customer to get it signed. They can do it electronically. And you know what he says to me? He goes, Jeremiah, nobody, and I mean nobody, is ever going to do a transaction as important as buying their home in their email with a digital signature. And he barred us from using it. It was the reason I left his brokerage. He wouldn't let me use it. So I get the same exact response from brokers today that they're like, I'll get on with them, and they'll just sit there arms crossed. And I'm like, so, how do you feel about AI? What are you doing? They're like, it's a fad. Like, it's never going to be as good as me. It can't do human emotion. It can't this. It can't that. Like, it's a fad. It's going to pass. And I'm like, okay. Was the internet a fad too? Like, was email a fad? It's here. I'm sorry to say that it's here to stay. And you can absolutely reject it in your life. But what that means is that you will only also do business with other people who reject it in their life. And I have a feeling that that's a narrowing audience, given that ChatGPT is the most used product in the world.
Now, let's jump into GEO a little bit.
Yep.
And so we are talking about agents. So it's an interesting space, right? Didn't Amazon basically try to block agents from getting on Amazon because the whole SEO model is eyeballs, right? Yeah. So the whole Google business model is, hey, I need a human being looking at all these links. Yeah. As that changes, how do you think that's going to affect real estate, and like what part of that problem do you think you guys might be solving in the future?
So GEO, when you say that, I hear SEO for generative. Is that what you mean by it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, got it. Okay, so
agent to agent, basically. I'm going to send my agent out, hey, I'm a first-time home buyer. I'm going to San Diego. Who should I use? And it's going to go out and find me someone who specializes in first-time home buyers.
Yeah. Okay, so the reason that you should listen to what I say about this is not because I'm smart. It's because my last company was the largest privately held search portal in the U.S. We had 25 million people a month find our website organically through SEO. So I've spent a lot of time around smart people with this. The single greatest opportunity that real estate agents have in the next 3 years is to get ranked in the citations by the models based on their hyperlocal content. The models haven't caught up with the sophistication that Google and other search engines have for like good content, bad content, etc. And it's pretty easy to hack them and get ranked quickly. We've done tons of work on like understanding how these citations work, because part of what we have to do as a platform is figure out when the machine automatically finds citations, which ones should we care about and which ones shouldn't we? Meaning, like, if you say, how do I do a short sale? We should not reference Reddit to answer that question. We should only answer trusted sources. So we've learned a lot about how the models find this data. And in fact, we wrote a free guide. You're welcome to give it away. You can get it at brokerbot.ai/getfound. And it's all about GEO, name, address, phone audits, and getting ranked in the generative citations. It's like, if you're not a cold caller, or like a social media poster, this is probably the biggest opportunity you have in the next 2 years, is to get ranked.
Well, and this is what excites me about it, JT, right? I always say AI takes what you love and turns it into a superpower and takes what you hate off your plate. Right? Yep. I hate marketing. I listen, you and I are having this conversation because this is what I like to do. I like to talk to people who are in the space, find out what's going on. I don't want to fucking send out emails and you know what I mean? So AI does all of that. Yeah. But this is where it gets exciting. If as an agent, an individual agent, what I really love is working with people who are having their first kid, or moving here for the first time, or sold their home and are downsizing and they're retiring. If that's who I love to work with, because that's who I'm humanly connected to, this is what's going to put those kinds of people in my world. And that's where I feel like it can get really exciting, because now I'm working with the people that I'm naturally aligned with. Does that make sense? I mean, are you hearing how?
Yeah, no. I think you nailed it. And I think for people that pay attention, there's a huge opportunity here.
Got it. All right. Is there anything else that I should know, JT, about BrokerBot, about you? Give us some parting words of wisdom here.
Geez. No, I mean, we've done, we've covered a lot of stuff, and it's been really fun. I like your energy a lot, Gus. I think we could do this for like 3 hours and have fun.
Oh, I know, exactly.
You know, the thing that I'll tell people is, like, the only constant is change. Be an explorer, like, go try new stuff, carve out some percentage of your day to just try new stuff and explore and see what's out there. It's moving so fast. It's impossible to keep up. Even somebody like me, that I'm in it every single day. I'm still learning. There's stuff I don't know. And so what I would encourage you to do is just time box out some time every day to work on this stuff, because it can also be a rabbit hole.
Yes.
And this is kind of like it's a necessary thing that you got to do. So whether it's hiring somebody like you, I don't know if you do consulting for people,
right,
to like come and set this up, or buying a product like ours, like, do something. Don't just like, my broker's going, I'll figure it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's interesting, because how many times, Jeremy, you talk about going down the rabbit hole. I'm trying to figure. Okay, there was that LinkedIn post it was the perfect LinkedIn post, but somehow it's hidden in a chat with, like, where's the best hot dog in Boston? You start talking to these things, and you're like, where the hell was my entire business plan is on a thread somewhere connected to a hot dog stand in Boston. That's really well, listen, I always, not always, but in talking to you, so there's a podcast I listen to called, which I'm going to send it to you. It's called the Artificial Intelligence Show, and I really like these two guys, because they're like not doomsayers, and they're not like the world is going to be great. They do a lot of work in interviewing or talking about the people who are way out in front, not necessarily saying, hey, this is what's here today, and they're not even saying we know this is going to happen. They're basically just saying, hey, listen, this is what Dario is talking about. This is where these people say it's going. That sounds great.
Because I'd love to listen to that.
Yeah, and they also, and this is what I do, they have something called SmarterX, which is like an AI academy. It's $1,000 for the year, but, professional services. And I mean, so I completely agree with you. You got to block out an hour a day, but then limit it, because I can also go down that rabbit hole, and it gets crazy. Listen, JT, this was fantastic, man. I appreciate it. So the way this works, and then we'll end it, and then don't jump off right away, because I had a couple of questions for you. But the way this will work is I get it edited. We'll send you an email. The reels will be on there. We'll hook up each other on our social media stuff. And listen, it was fantastic talking to you, man. I really feel like a kindred spirit here. So thank you.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
All right. Well, listen, thank you for watching Real Estate Rewired, AI with a Heart. If you'd like to be on the show, go ahead and DM me. Let's have that conversation. And JT, thanks again. All right. Cool. JT, how did that feel?
Good, man. That was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So just to give you some context, and it's interesting, I like, it took me about 8 or 9 months to finally figure out exactly what it is I'm doing and what I want to do. Is I'm looking for 4 or 5 small brokerages that basically want to transform their entire organization to be AI forward.
Yep.
And what that looks like for me, I mean, I've been sober 40 years in AA. I've been, Landmark and Tony Robbins and meditation and all of that stuff. I also believe that the real opportunity is in finding people that want to get honest about what's not working and what blind spots they have. And I'm not interested in putting AI tools on top of dysfunction. I'm interested in, like, okay, how come you want to make X amount of dollars? How come you hate your agents? Like, let's get to the real deal. and then, really identify what things we can take off their plate. And it looks like I'm tool neutral. I'm not selling a tool. So I'd love to figure out, a way, because it sounds like what you're doing could take a lot of problems off a lot of brokers' plates.
Yeah.
So
what we should do is just set up a follow-up, like probably 45 minutes, so that I can take you through the tool. You can ask me questions about it. And then we do have like a reseller affiliate thing where if you want to go install our thing in Brokerages as like the core layer, so you don't have to go build it all in GHL.
Right.
We have a number of people that do that. And
you can use it with GHL.
We haven't integrated GHL yet, but if you tell me what you want, it should be pretty easy. GHL's got pretty good APIs.
It does. All right, cool. So let's do this. Before you get off the phone, let's pick a time. Let me go to my calendar.
And I'm 5 minutes late to a customer demo, so sorry if I'm abrupt, but I do
worries.
Need to get rolling. What time zone are you in?
I'm in the East Coast.
Okay, so let's go out 2 weeks to the week of the 23rd.
How about the 26th at the same time?
I got something else already booked. I could do 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 o'clock your time.
All right, I will send on the 26th, 1 o'clock. I'll send you the invite.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
Hey, man, it was great meeting you. Good luck on the other thing, and we'll talk in a couple of weeks.
Okay, sounds good. I'll leave this open so that it won't kill the recording.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. All right, I appreciate that.
Thanks, Gus. Talk to you soon.
All right. If you've got value from today's episode, hit subscribe, leave a comment. I'd love to know what you're thinking. If you're ready to turn what you love into your superpower and take what you hate off your plate, schedule your free AI discovery call. The link is in the description and pinned comment. I'm Gus Waite. Until next time.